Hello and welcome to another part of this chapter, transportation problem. So far we have solved only the balanced transportation problem. In this part we shall solve one unbalanced transportation problem. That means a transportation problem where the sum of the demands is not equal to sum of the capacities. Let us consider this problem. This problem has 3 origins and 4 destinations, where the capacities of the origins are 30, 50 and 80, and the demands of the destinations are 20, 60, 55 and 40, and these are the corresponding cost values. So if we add the capacities, then we find that the sum is 30 plus 50 plus 80, that is 160. So the sum of the capacities is 160. Now if we add all the demands, then we find that it is 20 plus 60 plus 55 plus 40. So it is 175. So sum of the demands, that is equal to 175. So this problem is not a balanced transportation problem. This is an unbalanced transportation problem. So let us solve this unbalanced transportation problem. Now we find that total capacity is 160 and total demand is 175. So the demand is 15 more than the capacity. Therefore, to solve the problem, we first need to balance the capacity and the demands. For that, since the demand is 15 more than the capacity, so we need one more origin from where we can transport 15 units of item. That means we have to introduce one fake origin. Suppose we introduce the fake origin O4 such that the capacity of the origin O4 will be 15 and the cost values will be 0. So let us introduce it. So here we have introduced one fake origin, that is O4, with capacity 15 such that the sum of the capacity and sum of the demands both are now 175. That means the problem becomes a balanced transportation problem. Now we can solve this problem. Now we have assumed all the cost values for the origin O4 as 0 because this origin O4 does not exist practically. We have only assumed that this is a fake origin just to maintain the balance between the capacity and demand. So we have assumed that the cost of transportation from this origin to any destination is 0. At the final solution, we shall not consider this origin O4. So now this problem becomes a balanced transportation problem, and we have already learned how to find the solution of a balanced transportation problem. In the first step, we need to find one initial basic feasible solution, and then we shall find the optimal solution. And as we know that the Vogel's approximation method is the best way to find the initial basic feasible solution. So for this balanced transportation problem, we shall find initial basic feasible solution by using Vogel's approximation method. And we know that in this method, we find the minimum cost and the next minimum cost from each row and each column, and we write the difference between them within a bracket. From the first row, we find that the minimum element is 3 and the next minimum element is 4. So the difference between the minimum and the next minimum is 1. So we write this difference within a bracket beside the capacity. From the second row, we find that the minimum is 2 and the next minimum is 5. So we write the difference within a bracket. From the third row, we find that the minimum element is 2 and the next minimum is 3. So the difference is 1. So we write the difference within a bracket. And from the final row, we find that all the elements are 0. So the difference will be again 0. Now from the first column, we find that the minimum element is 0 and the next minimum is 3. So the difference is 3. From the second column, we find that the minimum element is 0 and the next minimum is 2. So the difference is 2. From the third column, we find that the minimum is 0, the next minimum is 6. so the difference is 6. And from the final column we find the minimum is 0 and the next minimum is 2, so the difference is 2. Now here we find that among the differences this 6 is the maximum one, so the first allocation will be made on this column. For that we have to find the minimum element, actually the minimum cost in this column. The minimum element from the third column is 0, so the first allocation will be made in this cell. For that we have to check the corresponding capacity and demand. We find that the minimum between the capacity and demand is 15, so we can allocate 15 here. Now if we allocate 15 here, then we find that the revised capacity of the origin O4 is 0 now, and the revised demand of the destination D3 is 55 minus 15, which is 40. So the capacity of the origin O4 is exhausted, so we can simply cross off all the remaining cells of this row. So we have crossed off all the remaining cells of the fourth row, that means of the origin O4. Now we shall write the revised capacities of the origins and the revised demands of the destinations. We write here these are 20, 60, 40, 40, 80, 50 and 30. Again we shall find the minimum element and the next minimum element from each row and each column, and we shall write the differences within a bracket. Here we have written all the differences within a bracket besides the capacities and demands. Now among the differences we find that the maximum difference is 3, corresponding to the second row, so the next allocation will be made on this row. For that we have to find the minimum element on this row. We find that the minimum element is 2, so the next allocation will be made in this cell. For that we have to check the corresponding capacity and demand, and out of this 2 we find that 50 is the minimum, so we can allocate 50 here. Now if we allocate 50 here, then we find that the revised capacity of the origin O2 is 0 now, and the revised demand of the destination D2 is 60 minus 50, which is 10. So the capacity of the origin O2 is exhausted now, so we can simply cross off all the remaining cells of the second row. So we have crossed off all the remaining cells of the second row. Again we compute the revised capacities and demands. We have written all the revised capacities and all the revised demands. Again we shall find the minimum element and the next minimum element from each row, and we shall write the difference between these two within a bracket. From the first row we find that the difference is 1, and from the third row we find that the difference is 1. From the first column the difference is 1, from the second column the difference is 5, from the third column difference is 1, and from the fourth column difference is 2. So we find that the maximum difference is 5, corresponding to the second column. So to allocate the next basic variable, we have to find the minimum element from the second column, which is 3. So next allocation will be made in this cell. For that we have to check the corresponding demand and capacity. The demand is 10 and the capacity is 80. Among these two 10 is minimum, so we can allocate 10 here. If we allocate 10 here, then the revised demand of the destination D2 is 0 and the revised capacity of O3 is now 70. So the demand of the destination D2 is met now, so we can simply cross off the remaining cells of this column. Now we write the revised capacities and the demands. We have written the revised capacities and the demands. Now we shall write the difference between the minimum element and the next minimum element from each row and each column. From the first row we find that the minimum is 3 and the next minimum 4, so the difference is 1. And from the third row we find that minimum is 2 and the next minimum is 4 now, so the difference is 2. And from the first column the difference is 1, from the third column the difference is again 1, and from the fourth column the difference is 2. So if we check the differences, then we find that the maximum difference is 2, both for this fourth column and for the third row. We can select any one of them. Suppose we are selecting this one, that means the next allocation will be made in this row. For that we find the minimum element of this row, which is 2, so we shall allocate the next value in this cell. For that we have to check the corresponding capacity and demand, out of which this 40 is minimum. So we can allocate 40 here. Now if we allocate 40 here, then the demand of the destination D4 is made, so we can simply cross off the remaining cell of the fourth column. Now we write the revised capacities and demands. We have written the revised demands and the revised capacities. Now we shall find the difference between the minimum element and next minimum element from each row and each column. From the first row the difference is 4, from the second row the difference is 2, from the first column the difference is 1, and from the third column the difference is 1. So we find that the maximum difference is 4 corresponding to the first row, so the next allocation will be made in this cell where the cost is minimum. So this is the minimum cost of the first row, so we shall allocate the next value in this cell. For that we have to check the corresponding capacity and demand, out of which 20 is minimum, so we can allocate 20 here. Now since the capacity of this origin O1 is 30, so we have to allocate 10 here. Now the demand of the destination D1 is made, so we can simply cross off the remaining cells of this column. So the revised demand of the destination D1 is 0 now, and the revised demand of the destination D3 is 40 minus 10, which is 30 now. The revised capacity of the origin O1 is exhausted now, so it is 0, and the revised capacity of the origin O3 is 30 now. So only one cell is remaining, and the demand is 30, the capacity is 30, so we can simply allocate 30 here. So this is our initial basic feasible solution. As expected, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 basic variables, and all the remaining 9 variables are non-basic variables. So this is our initial basic feasible solution. The value of x11 is 20, x13 is 10, x22 is 50, x32 is 10, x33 is 30, x34 is 40, and x43 is 15. So we have obtained initial basic feasible solution by Vogel's approximation method. Now we shall test whether this solution is optimal or not. To check the optimality of the initial basic feasible solution, we shall use the UV method. Now this is our initial basic feasible solution. We have 7 basic variables, and the remaining 9 variables are non-basic, whose values are 0. Now in this UV method, we shall check the optimality of this initial basic feasible solution by considering 8 new variables, which are UI and Vj. Now out of these 8 variables, only 7 of them are independent, and we can assume any one variable arbitrarily. And we know that in UV method, the value of Zij minus Cij, this is equal to Ui plus Vj minus Cij. And we know from the simplest method that for basic cell, the Zij minus Cij value will be 0. So for basic cell, Ui plus Vj minus Cij will be equal to 0. and for non-basic cell we shall compute all these values ey plus vj minus cij, and if the solution is optimum then all the values of ey plus bj minus cij will be non-positive. If all the values of ey plus bj minus cij are less equal to 0 for this problem, then the solution will be optimum. Otherwise we have to improve the solution to get the optimal solution. Now we can easily find all the values of ui and vj by using these conditions for the basic cell, and as I have said that we can assume any one value either of ui or vj arbitrarily. Suppose we are assuming this value as 0. Now since this is a basic cell, because we have allocated here, since this is a basic cell, so it is ui, it will be vj, and this is cij. So the rule for the basic cell is ui plus vj minus cij equal to 0. So the value of this vj will be 2. Again this is a basic cell, so ui plus vj minus cij equal to 0. That means this value will be 6. Again this is a basic cell, so the value of ui plus vj minus cij, this will be 0. So this is 3. Now using this value we can easily find this value, because this is basic cell. So ui plus vj minus cij equal to 0. So this one will be minus 1. Again using this value we can find this value. That means ui plus vj minus cij, this is equal to 0. So ui plus vj minus cij, this is equal to 0. That means this value is 1. Now using this value we can find this value, because ui plus vj minus cij equal to 0. So this will be 2. And finally for this value we can easily find that, because ui plus vj minus cij equal to 0. So this is minus 6. So we have obtained all the values of ui and vj. Now using all these values we can easily find the values of ui plus vj minus cij for the non-basic cells. These values are called net evaluations. So these are called net evaluations. Now let us find the net evaluations for the non-basic cell. For the first non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, so it is minus 4. For this non-basic cell ui plus vj minus cij, which is minus 1. For this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, this is minus 4. For this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, it is minus 4. For this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, which is minus 4 again. For this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, which is minus 2. For this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, which is minus 4. For this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, which is minus 3. And finally for this non-basic cell it is ui plus vj minus cij, which is minus 4. So we have computed all the net evaluations for the non-basic cells, and we have found that all the values of the net evaluations for the non-basic cell are non-positive. That means the optimality condition is satisfied. So since all the values of ui plus vj minus cij, that means all the values of net evaluations of the non-basic cell are non-positive, so the optimality condition is satisfied. That means the initial basic feasible solution we have obtained by using Vogel's approximation method is the final optimal solution. So now we can write the initial basic feasible solution, that is the final optimal solution here. So we write the final solution, that is the optimal solution, that is x11 equal to 20, x13 equal to 10, x22 equal to 50, x32 equal to 10, x33 equal to 30, and x34 equal to 40. We shall not write this value because this is not the actual origin, this was fake origin. So we shall not consider this value. Now we shall find the corresponding minimum cost, and we know that the corresponding minimum cost can be found by considering the values of the basic variables and the corresponding cost. So the minimum cost will be 20 into 3 plus 10 into 7 plus 50 into 2 plus 10 into 3 plus 30 into 6 plus 40 into 2. That will be equal to 520. So this is the required minimum cost. So we have found that the final optimal solution for this unbalanced transportation problem is minimum cost is 520, where the values of the basic variables are these. Now if we look at the solution, then we shall find that the value of this basic variable was 15. That means the demand of the destination D3 will be 15 less than the original demand, because the capacity of the origins are 15 less than the total demand. So total 15 units of demand will not be met. Now from the solution we find that this 15 unit of demand will not be met for the destination D3. So all the demands of the remaining 3 destinations will be met, but 15 units of demand will not be met for the destination D3. So that completes the solution. With this we complete this part. In this part we have considered unbalanced transportation problem. In the next part we shall consider assignment problem. So see you in the next part. Until then, thanks for watching.